हम भारत के लोग
भारत को एक संपूर्ण, प्रभुत्व संपन्न,
समाजवादी, पंथनिरपेक्ष, लोकतंत्रात्मक गणराज्य बनाने के लिए तथा उसके समस्त नागरिकों को
सामाजिक, आर्थिक और राजनीतिक न्याय, विचार, अभिव्यक्ति, विश्वास,
धर्म और उपासना की स्वतंत्रता, प्रतिष्ठा और अवसर की समता प्राप्त कराने के लिए
तथा उन सब में
व्यक्ति की गरिमा और राष्ट्र की एकता और अखंडता सुनिश्चित करने वाली बंधुता बढ़ाने के लिए इस संविधान को आत्मार्पित करते हैं। देश का गौरव हमारा संविधान।
The Constitution is the supreme law of India. It lays down the framework defining fundamental political principles, establishes the structure, procedures, powers, and the duties of government institutions, and sets out fundamental rights, directive principles, and the duties of citizens. It is the longest written constitution of any sovereign country in the world, containing in its original form 395 articles and 8 schedules, to which additions have been made through subsequent amendments. At present, it contains 448 articles in 24 parts, 12 schedules, and 97 amendments. The Constituent Assembly of India was elected to write the Constitution of India. Following India's independence from Great Britain, its members served as the nation's first parliament. The Assembly met for the first time in New Delhi on the 9th of December 1946 at 11 a.m. in the Constitution Hall, which is now the Central Hall of Parliament. Dr. Sachidanand Sinha was the temporary chairman of the Constituent Assembly when it met for the first time. Dr. Rajendra Prasad was then elected the President of the Constituent Assembly and would later become the first President of India. In its meeting of 14th August 1947, a proposal for forming various committees was presented. Such committees included a Committee on Fundamental Rights, the Union Powers Committee, and Union Constitution Committee. On the 29th of August 1947, the Drafting Committee was appointed with Dr. B.R. Ambedkar as the chairman, along with 6 other members, assisted by a constitutional advisor. A draft constitution was prepared by the committee and submitted to the Assembly on the 4th of November 1947. The draft constitution was debated and over 2,000 amendments were moved over a period of 2 years. The Assembly met in sessions open to the public for 166 days, spread over a period of 2 years, 11 months and 18 days before adopting the Constitution. The total expenditure incurred during this process was 64 lakh rupees. Finally, on 26th of November 1949, the process was completed and the Constituent Assembly adopted the Constitution. The members of the Assembly signed 2 copies of the document, one each in Hindi and English, on the 24th of January 1950. The Constitution was enacted by the Constituent Assembly on the 26th of November 1949. The Constitution of India came into effect on the 26th of January 1950, a day that is now commemorated in India as Republic Day. The majestic Rashtrapati Bhavan lies nestled atop Raisina Hill in its full glory. The official residence of the head of the world's largest democracy is fittingly the largest presidential residence in the whole world and an architectural masterpiece. This is the finest work of Edwin Lutyens, a seamless amalgamation of Western classical architecture with various Indian elements. Chakravarti Rajagopalachari, informally called Rajaji or CR, was an Indian lawyer, freedom fighter, politician, writer and statesman, and a pioneer of social reform. He was often regarded as the wisest man in India. Rajaji was the first Indian to occupy the majestic Rashtrapati Bhavan as the last Governor General of India. He also served as leader of the Indian National Congress, Premier of the Madras Presidency, Governor of West Bengal, Minister for Home Affairs of the Indian Union, and Chief Minister of Madras State. Rajaji was one of the first recipients of India's highest civilian award, the Bharat Ratna. He vehemently opposed the use of nuclear weapons and was a proponent of world peace and disarmament. During his lifetime, he also acquired the nickname Mango of Salem. During the freedom struggle, he joined the Indian National Congress and participated in the agitations against the Rowlatt Act, the Non-Cooperation Movement, the Vaikom Satyagraha, and the Civil Disobedience Movement. In 1946, Rajaji was appointed Minister in the interim government before he became Governor General of India in 1948 and served till 1950 when India became a republic. The first President of India, Dr. Rajendra Prasad, was a teacher and lawyer and thrice the President of the Indian National Congress. Such was his intellect and his integrity as a lawyer that often, when an adversary failed to cite a precedent, the judges asked Dr. Prasad to cite a precedent against himself. Rajendra Babu, as he was fondly called, was a towering leader of India's independence movement and the architect of the Indian Constitution, having served as President of the Constituent Assembly of India from 1948 to 1950. He served briefly as a cabinet minister in the first government of independent India. 2.5 years after independence, on the 26th of January 1950, the Constitution of India was ratified and Dr. Rajendra Prasad was elected to this august office. As President, Dr. Prasad used his moderating influence silently and unobtrusively and set a healthy precedent for others to follow. Dr. Prasad is the only president who served 2 consecutive terms in office. During his tenure as president, he visited many countries on missions of goodwill and sought to establish and nourish new relationships. He stressed for peace in a nuclear age. His visits included Moscow, where he was welcomed by the then Secretary General of the Communist Party, Leonid Brezhnev, and Vietnam, where he was received by Ho Chi Minh. In 1962, after 12 years as president, Dr. Rajendra Prasad retired and was subsequently awarded the nation's highest civilian award, the Bharat Ratna. Because of the enormous public adulation he enjoyed, Dr. Rajendra Prasad was referred to as Desh Ratna, or the jewel of the nation. The philosopher President of India, Dr. Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan, was an educationist and profound scholar who was internationally acclaimed as one of the leading intellectuals of the world. He was a Spalding Professor of Comparative Religions at Oxford University and India's ambassador to the Soviet Union, then Vice President of India, before he became the second President of India in 1962.
I, Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan, do swear in the name of God that I will faithfully execute the office of President of India.
He achieved distinction in 4 different fields of intellectual and political endeavour: Indian philosophy in its wider perspectives, diplomacy, social thought, and comparative religion. But no matter what his office or achievement, the teaching profession was his first love, and those who studied under him still remember with gratitude his great qualities as a teacher. In his honour, when he became president, his birthday, the 5th of September, came to be observed as Teachers' Day in India. The Bharat Ratna was conferred upon Dr. Radhakrishnan in 1954, well before he became president. Dr. Radhakrishnan was nominated for the Nobel Prize for Literature for 5 consecutive years from 1933 to 1937. One of India's most influential scholars of comparative religion and philosophy, Dr. Radhakrishnan is thought of as having built a bridge between the East and the West by showing that the philosophical systems of each tradition are comprehensible within the terms of the other. He wrote authoritative exegeses of India's religious and philosophical literature for the English-speaking world in order to bring about greater understanding between cultures. His life was a real embodiment of the Indian principle of simple living and high thinking. His saintly life, sharp intellect, and intense love for his countrymen won him love, affection, and admiration of everyone in India. A true representative of India's composite culture, Dr. Zakir Hussain was a great humanist. His contribution to the development of modern Indian thought through his educational and social philosophy and secular ideals is invaluable. He became the third President of India in 1967. Dr. Zakir Hussain was one of the most distinguished and creative educationists of this country. He was a close associate of Mahatma Gandhi and was chosen by him to prepare the plan for education in India. He believed firmly that national education should preserve the national heritage. He died in office on the 3rd of May, 1969. Dr. Zakir Hussain was awarded the Padma Vibhushan in 1954 and the Bharat Ratna in 1963. Sri Varahagiri Venkatagiri, familiarly known as V.V. Giri, was a lawyer, writer, and fervent nationalist who played a prominent part in India's struggle for independence. During the civil disobedience movement in the early 30s, Giri, as a prominent labor leader, did much to organize trade unions in support of the nationalist movement. After India's independence in 1947, Mr. V.V. Giri became the first High Commissioner of India in Ceylon. He was Minister in state and central governments, Governor of Uttar Pradesh, Kerala and Mysore, Vice President and Acting President before he became the 4th President of India on the 3rd of May, 1969.
Do solemnly affirm that I will faithfully execute the office of President of India.
Sri V.V. Giri was conferred with India's highest civilian decoration, the Bharat Ratna, in 1975. Dr. Fakhruddin Ali Ahmed, a staunch nationalist and an illustrious statesman, symbolized the best traditions of India's composite culture, serving the nation with exemplary dedication for over 45 years. Born on the 13th of May 1905 in the Hauz Qazi area of Old Delhi, Fakhruddin Ali Ahmed grew up in the thick of India's freedom struggle. He joined the Indian National Congress and actively participated in the freedom movement. He was the Minister of Finance, Revenue and Labour in the state government of Assam and later the Union Minister of Irrigation and Power, Education and Industrial Development and Company Affairs. He was India's emissary to several Arab countries during the Bangladesh crisis. A long and distinguished political career culminated in his being sworn in as the 5th President of India on the 24th of August 1974. He was an ardent sportsman and played hockey, football, tennis, and golf in particular. Besides sports, he also had a deep interest in music, fine arts, and poetry. He represented India's tradition of a secular ethos. His selfless service, humanism, and deep sensitivity will always be remembered. Fakhruddin Ali Ahmed died in office on the 11th of February 1977. Sri Neelam Sanjeeva Reddy was a veteran statesman and administrator. He held many eminent positions in public life, both before and after independence. He was the president of the Indian National Congress, the Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh, and Minister in the central government. He was elected as Speaker of Lok Sabha in 1977 and served his term dedicatedly and passionately with such oratorical skills that he was named the best speaker ever in the Lok Sabha. Shri Neelam Sanjeeva Reddy became the 6th President of India on the 25th of July 1977. He was the youngest president and so far the only unanimously elected President of India. He proved himself to be one of the most dynamic presidents. His 5 years in office were crammed with activity, receiving President Jimmy Carter and his wife, greeting Yasser Arafat, the leader of the Palestinian Liberation Organization, visiting Moscow where he was greeted by President Brezhnev and other countries in Europe. He also paid a state visit to Zambia where he was received by President Kenneth Kaunda. Back home, he visited the oil drills on Bombay High, honored the Nobel Prize winner Mother Teresa, and cheered Jawans guarding India's far-flung frontiers. Gyani Zail Singh's ascendancy to the highest position in the country can be traced from the humblest of origins and combines rare qualities of the head and heart. Gyaniji's innings in public life have been long and varied. Freedom fighter, social reformer, champion of the downtrodden, state congress leader, successful chief minister, and Union Home Minister. Gyani Zail Singh served as the 7th President of India from the 14th of January 1980 to the 22nd of June 1982.
That I will faithfully execute the office of President of India.
He truly was a relentless fighter against princedom, feudalism, and foreign domination in the pre-independence days, a tireless crusader against communalism, economic disparities, and social injustice. He was a true friend of the downtrodden and the economically weak. Shri Ramaswamy Venkataraman, or RV as he was known among friends, was a lawyer by profession and an acclaimed intellectual. It was during his law practice that he was drawn into India's struggle for freedom, and he actively participated in the Quit India movement of 1942, resulting in a 2-year detention. He was a member of the Constituent Assembly. He was elected in 1950 to the Provisional Parliament and again in 52 to the first Lok Sabha. Shri Venkataraman had held various posts at the centre, including Minister of Finance and Defence. He was ideally suited for higher constitutional responsibilities as Vice President and then as the 8th President of India on the 25th of July 1987.
And I will faithfully execute the office of the President of India.
His tenure as President coincided with a period of great change in politics as the nation moved from the one-party era to an age of coalition governments. Dr. Shankar Dayal Sharma, a person of great erudition, was an eminent lawyer and teacher. He was a person of great scholastic achievements. Besides a doctorate in law from Cambridge University, he also held master's degrees in English literature, Hindi, and Sanskrit. He jumped into politics during the hectic days of the Quit India movement. He combined teaching with politics. Dr. Sharma was Chief Minister of the former state of Bhopal and Cabinet Minister holding the portfolios of Education, Law, Public Works, Industry and Commerce, National Resources and Separate Revenue, and later the Minister for Communications. Dr. Sharma was the 8th Vice President of India and the Chairman of the Council of States till he assumed office of the President of India in 1992. Throughout his career, his special interests lay in international affairs, linguistics, law, philosophy, education, rural development, and comparative study of religions. Kocheril Raman Narayanan, or K.R. Narayanan, began his career as a member of the Indian Foreign Service under the Nehru administration. This was after a brief stint with journalism and then studying political science at the London School of Economics under the legendary political theorist, economist, author and lecturer Harold Joseph Lasky. He served as ambassador to Japan, United Kingdom, Thailand, Turkey, People's Republic of China, and the United States of America, and was named by Pandit Nehru as the best diplomat of the country. Narayanan later entered politics and won 3 successive general elections to the Lok Sabha and served as a Minister of State in the Union Cabinet. Mr. K.R. Narayanan was elected the 9th Vice President in 1992 and went on to become the 10th President of India in 1997 with 95% of the votes in the Electoral College.
मैं कोचेरिल रामन नारायणन श्रद्धापूर्वक भारत के राष्ट्रपति के पद का कार्यपालन करूंगा.
Mr. K.R. Narayanan will always be remembered as having a very high place among the intellectuals of this country. Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam worked with Defence Research and Development Organisation DRDO and Indian Space Research Organisation ISRO before his term as the 11th President of India.
I, Awul Pakir Jainulabudin Abdul Kalam, that I will faithfully execute the office of the President of India.
Popularly known as the People's President, he has a special place in his heart for students and continued to interact with them during his tenure as President. Dr. Kalam has played a pivotal role in India's nuclear, space, and ballistic missile technology and is often called the Missile Man of India. Dr. Kalam was honoured with the Padma Bhushan in 1981 and the Padma Vibhushan in 1990. Dr. Kalam received India's highest civilian honour, the Bharat Ratna, in 1997. Srimati Pratibha Devi Singh Patil, the 12th President of India, is the first woman to have been elected to this august office.
I will devote myself
to the service and well-being of the people of India.
to the service and well-being of the people of India.
A lawyer and social worker, Srimati Patil entered politics at the young age of 27. She has the unique distinction of not having lost a single election that she has ever contested. As president, she has been on goodwill missions to several countries of South America, Europe, Africa, Middle East, besides visiting Russia, China, and South Korea. She has also received several heads of state during her tenure. In her long and distinguished public life, her main focus throughout has been the welfare of women and children and the underprivileged sections of society.
I, Pranab Mukherjee,
do swear in the name of God that I will faithfully execute the office of the President of India.
do swear in the name of God that I will faithfully execute the office of President of India.
The President of India, Shri Pranab Kumar Mukherjee or Pranab Da, began his political career with the Indian National Congress in 1969 when he was nominated to the Rajya Sabha under Prime Minister Indira Gandhi. So invaluable was his contribution to the party that he was often described as man of all seasons. He became a cabinet minister in 1973 and rose through a series of cabinet posts to become Finance Minister of India from 1982 to 1984. Mr. Mukherjee was Foreign Minister from 1995 to 1996. He later became the leader of the House in the Lok Sabha after the Congress formed a new government in 2004. He served as Minister of Defence from 2004 to 2006. He then served again as Foreign Minister from 2006 to 2009 and as Finance Minister from 2009 until he became the President.
हम भारत के लोग भारत को एक संपूर्ण, प्रभुत्व संपन्न, समाजवादी, पंथनिरपेक्ष, लोकतंत्रात्मक गणराज्य बनाने के लिए तथा उसके समस्त नागरिकों को सामाजिक, आर्थिक और राजनीतिक न्याय, विचार, अभिव्यक्ति, विश्वास, धर्म और उपासना की स्वतंत्रता, प्रतिष्ठा और अवसर की समता प्राप्त कराने के लिए तथा उन सब में व्यक्ति की गरिमा और राष्ट्र की एकता और अखंडता सुनिश्चित करने वाली बंधुता बढ़ाने के लिए इस संविधान को आत्मार्पित करते हैं। देश का गौरव हमारा संविधान।